So I thank you all for choosing to come out and be a part of this tonight. Tamisha Fikes is from Midwest Federal Credit Union. Did I say that right?
Midwest America.
Midwest America. And we are just ecstatic to have her here tonight to do some work in financial literacy with families, not just for parents. This is something that we are offering for students alongside their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have pizza in the back that was donated from Midwest America. So could we give them a round of applause just for food donation, dinner? And like she said, if you have students that are third grade or below and they want to go over to the school care team, you can do that as well. Please feel free to get up, mingle, and get more pizza as we go through this process. Okay. We also have Parkview in the back. Ladies, wave. So before you leave out tonight, please make sure that you visit their table. They have a lot of information. And anytime we do events with Trailblazers, we love, love, love to give supportive services that are outside of our school. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they have some great information as well. Tamisha Fikes.
Thank you, Miss Danita. Good evening. Can you hear me? We good back there? Perfect. Good evening. As Miss Danita said, my name is Tamisha and I work for Midwest America Federal Credit Union. I've been with the credit union for about 5 years, but I've actually been in banking for 20 years. So that was my first job right out of college, and I've kind of just stayed in the industry, grown in the industry, and I love it. So part of my job as a community development manager is I get to come out and teach classes to people who are interested in learning different financial concepts, from I go into classrooms, I go into senior living facilities. So kind of I touch a little bit of everyone, right? And this is one of the things that I love to do. So I used to work in a branch. I used to be a branch manager. I used to help people with loans and mortgages. And I still like that, but teaching financial literacy was one of my passions. And so when I was able to kind of create a position for myself, to do all the things that I love to do, I did it, right? And so that's why we're here today. I'm going to teach you guys, we're going to have some conversation. So I like feedback. I like answering questions, things like that. So I don't want to be up here talking the entire time. So I want us to have some dialogue. And I know having financial conversations sometimes are a little bit taboo, but this is a safe space. I want everybody to feel comfortable to ask questions. You don't have to be very detailed if it's something that's very personal. I'll stick around at the end if you have something that's really personal that you want to talk about. But if not, if it's something that you think would benefit the entire group, feel free to ask questions as we go along. So today we're going to talk about family money talks. So we're going to do a quick icebreaker. You each have a blank sheet of paper, right? Does everybody have a blank sheet of paper? Okay. And so those of you that have your students with you, all of the activities that we're doing today is going to encompass the students as well, because we want them, even in fourth and fifth grade, to start learning and seeing healthy financial habits. So that's why they are in here, is because it's never too early to start learning about money. I know some of them get some financial literacy through junior achievement, but there's always room for more education. And finance is something that, as we'll get to in the lesson, is something that should be an open discussion to some extent with your children. And the reason I say that is because, having worked in banking for 20 years, you'll be surprised how many 20-year-olds that I get that come in and have no idea what they're supposed to do with a bank account because they never learned. And so that's why it's important to me to make sure that the younger people are in here learning, because we want them to be successful adults when they grow up, right? And we want them to not be afraid to have those money conversations or to know what's going on financially, when they get ready to start having their own family and having their own bills and things like that. So we're going to jump right in. A couple of workshop objectives. We're going to talk about 3 core money skills that students and parents need, which are budgeting basics, saving with a purpose, smart spending habits. We're going to do some interactive activity with a family money vision. We're going to have some family conversation starters. We're going to also do another interactive activity called Dream It, Do It. And then we're going to talk about how we maintain your money vision, okay? So those are some of the objectives that we're going to have for this evening's class. All right, so our icebreaker. What I want everyone to do, and I'm going to give everyone probably about 2 minutes to do this, is I want you on that blank piece of paper to jot down What comes to your mind when you hear the word money? It could be positive things, negative things, whatever pops out in your mind when you hear the word money. So I'm going to start my timer and you can start jotting those down. And again, for families, please involve your students in that. Ask them there for their responses as well so that we can kind of incorporate a list for everyone. You got about one more minute. And also, I'll throw in a challenge because I see some of you how it makes you feel, the feelings that come associated with that word, because those are important as well. We got about 20 seconds. All right, there goes my timer. It's my favorite sound when I wake up in the morning, right? All right. So, what are some of the things that you wrote down when I asked you, what comes to your mind when you hear the word money? Love-hate relationship. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Buying things. Awesome. Giving to charity. Awesome. That's a great one. Anyone else have anything they want to share? Mm-hmm. Bitcoin. Okay. What'd you say? Store of wealth. Okay. Did anybody have any feelings that they wrote down when I asked you to kind of throw that in there as well? When you hear the word money, what kind of feelings do you get? Yes, ma'am. Kind of feel happy when you have money, right? Yeah, those endorphins get going, right? You get happy. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. You have to be a good steward of it, right? Yes. Anyone else? You had something? Confidence. That's a good one. Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna have it for a short while, right? It's gonna come in and go right out, right? So those are all things, and I've heard probably all of those before. When we think about money, right? It's really a mindset, right? We heard some positive things, we heard some negative things, and a lot of times the mindset of how you look at it is kind of what forces those thoughts, right? So if you're in a situation where maybe you're living, paycheck to paycheck and you're scraping, trying to figure out how to, make ends meet, it might be difficult, right? It might be, oh, I don't know, I've got more stuff that I need to pay than I have money coming in. So then you have this negative connotation of the money. But then the young man back there said giving it to charity, right? That's a happy feeling, right? When I have some extra that I can help someone else do something with the money that I'm giving them, like maybe I'm helping, I don't know, rescue an animal or something, whatever that charity does, that makes me feel happy, as she said, right? Makes me feel happy, makes me feel good, like, oh, I'm contributing to society, I'm, doing all the things. So money kind of, it has its ebbs and flows, right? Do you guys know that does anybody know the number one reason why people call off work? Why they call off of work so they don't go to work, and it's not because they're sick. I will share that tidbit. Could be. Anybody else have any idea? Actually, most of the time when people call off work, it's because they've had a financial situation that they feel like they got to take the whole next day off of work because they don't understand or they got to figure out how to fix the emergency, right? So you blew your tire, right? Tire costs what? $200 for a new one. Maybe I don't have $200. One, if I blew my tire, I can't get to work, right? So I got to figure out how to get to work and from work. And I also got to figure out how I'm going to pay for this $200 expense that I didn't budget for, or that I may not have access to have the $200 to fix my tire. So all this stress, all this worry, all these things come upon you. You're like, no, I can't go to work because I got to be able to focus on how to fix this, right? So a lot of times people call off work for financial reasons. They've had some type of emergency that they've got to take a full day to kind of run all the ideas through their head, right? And that's okay. If that's what you had to do, that's what the time is for, right? Your mental health, your mental health days. I'm an advocate for those. Please take them. But that's one of the number one reasons people call off is because they have to figure out these financial emergencies because they may not have enough money in savings to fix this emergency, or they may not know where they can go for help to help them. They may not have a friend or family member that they can call to help them in that situation. So they've got to kind of figure out now, what bill am I not going to pay to get my tire fixed? Because I need to be able to at least go to work the next day, right? Because if I miss more than a day or two of work, I start putting myself behind on income. So that is the number one reason. So we're going to talk a little bit about money culture. Every family has a culture of money. And parents, you're the architect of this culture. So I've got some discussion questions that we're going to kind of talk through. How were you taught about money growing up? How many of you lived in the household? Well, back in my day, you stayed out of grown people's business, right? You didn't know what was going on, right? You stayed in the kids' place. You didn't really hear the conversations. You heard whispers, mom and dad whispering, you didn't know what was going on, right? Or sometimes you'd ask for something. Oh, we don't have it. And that was the answer you got. Or maybe next time, but no real concrete answer, right? And a lot of that is because actually, I think it's 85% of people pick financial habits up from how they were raised, from their family. So guess what? If mom and dad were bad with money growing up, you're likely to be bad with money. And so we're here to break that cycle, right? Taking a class like this, coming to a class like this to just learn one or two tips that can help you will help change the trajectory of your financial blueprint, right? And so that's why it's important. Even, I mean, I watch TikTok, we watch all those funny videos on TikTok. There's so many financial lessons at your fingertips from professionals of people that have these little bursts of information that can share with you that can help you reframe and rethink how you do things with your money. I watch some of those because if not, I'm on TikTok just looking at silly kids or cats, or if my nephew's over, we're looking at dog videos on TikTok. So why not take some of the tools that we have and educate ourselves a little bit more on things that we could be doing or things that we could be using to better ourselves? Um, does anybody have any other ways they were? I mean, hey, if we were wealthy, you grew up wealthy, you just think, money solves everything, right? I'll just pay my way to do whatever I need to do. If someone tells you no, you guys seen those on the movies, they're the wealthy family and they come up with some kind of obstacle and they're just like, oh, well, we can just pay for it and move us to the top of the list. Or so if you have grown up in affluent areas, you have a different culture of money, right? And so every family is going to be different based on your background, right? Everybody's money culture is different. What's one thing that you want to do differently with your money? And I'll share, I've been working this year to save more money. So I have adopted a pay myself first method. So when I get paid every week, I have money going in this place to pay this and this to pay that. But I also have money that goes directly into account that's just for me to save. Kind of out of sight, out of mind. What are some things that you guys want to do differently with your finances? Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Saving it up for something that you really want instead of maybe going to the store and buying, candy or chips or gum. Yep. We've all been there. Anybody else have anything that they want to do differently with money? Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. That is so true. And one thing I've learned in investments, because that's something I'm slowly kind of dabble into, right? Um, is you want to invest in things that you already spend your money on. So let's say, how many of you got an iPhone in here? How many of you have an iPad? How many of you have an Apple Watch? Right. So we got all the Apple stuff, right? We're making Apple all this money by buying these products. Why not buy stock in Apple? That's what we're spending our money on. Spend, invest your money in the things that you're already spending money on. If you buy Nike shoes for your kids, why not buy a $10 stock in Nike, right? And watch it grow. It's the same thing as you're giving them money. Why not earn some money off of the money that you're investing into them, right? So that's one small investment tip that I can give is buy stock in things that you are already spending your money on. All right. And then what money habits do you want to pass on to your child? Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, and we're going to get to that. But that's definitely a good one. That's the basic one that you can teach them early, right? Because, if your kid, I have young adult kids, but when they were younger, every time we went to the store, they thought they were supposed to get something. No, it's a conversation we had. We're going to the store to get groceries. You get to eat everything that goes in this cart. You don't need anything special, right? But also coming up with ways to kind of help your children um, learn financially from you. And so we'll get into some of those things here in a minute. But when we think about the culture of money, we want to have healthy money conversations that includes openness. Not saying that you got to share with your kids everything, but sometimes when they ask for something and you say no, maybe explain the no. Hey, I just don't have the extra money right now. I've had, bills, things have come up. It's winter time. That means we've got a higher gas bill. Like, kind of explain just a little bit about things that are going on, because that then changes their perspective of, oh, I forgot mom does have a lot of other things that she has to pay for, right? Maybe I can't get these new pair of shoes right now, right? But just being open and honest and not just always, sometimes no means no, but sometimes just sharing just a little bit and being open about it, right? Or being honest. We just don't have it. Got all these bills that I got to pay. I don't have anything extra right now. But don't feel shame. There's no shame in that, right? Being able to have that open conversation and not feeling shame about, oh man, I can't get this for my kid. Because sometimes no means just no, not at this moment. That doesn't mean not in the future, right? And sometimes they ask for things and you buy it and then they play with it for like 2 days and then it's thrown in the closet, right? So sometimes if we give them that delayed gratification, they appreciate it a little bit more, right? Sometimes, depending on the kids. Yes. Either. So the parents may feel shame because like, oh, I can't get that for my kid. Yes. They're like, oh man. But sometimes the kid may feel shame as well, especially when they're asking for something that maybe their peers have, you know. Um, what's those little dolls? Yes. That's like the thing right now, right? And so all their friends have it, right? And then they might feel some type of way when you say no, but I think having that openness and kind of explaining it to them will help reduce some of the shame, right? Like that doesn't mean I can't get it. You know, Christmas is coming or my birthday's coming, you know, those special occasions, but not to just fork out how much ever that crazy thing costs in the middle of April. No, it's not worth it in my opinion, but it's just my opinion. Also, healthy money conversations um, include teamwork. So it's a way for you to bond with your kids and teaching great um, money habits and also teaching them communication and teamwork as a family. Also helps with problem solving, right? Hey, we've got this problem, or hey, we've got this thing. How are we going to spend it? So I'll share a quick story. When my kids were probably 12 and 8, they're 4 years apart. I would sit down with them um, and I'd say, hey, I'm working on my budget for the month. We have $100 for entertainment for the month. You guys get to decide how we spend it, right? So that means if you want to go roller skating with your friends, you want to go to the movies, you want to go to a basketball game, we only have $100. We have to spend it wisely. But you get to decide what we do with it. So one, that gives them the joy of thinking, oh, I get to plan some fun things to do, right? But also gives them the boundaries of this is what we have. And once it's gone, it's gone. So what I started to do was say, hey, we've got $100. There's two of you. I don't really do much entertainment. You each get $50. When your $50 is gone, it's gone. So my daughter, she's an athlete, so she always wanted to go to a game. Can I go to this game? Can I go to this football game? Sure. Do you have how much money do you have left? Oh, well, I only have $4. Oh, well, the game costs $6. So then she tried to go barter with her brother because he had more money, right? Do you have $2? And you know what he would say? And I did not teach him this. I promise you I did not. Sure, I'll let you borrow $2 if you pay me back $5 next Friday. He's a loan shark, okay? But she kind of started to learn, right? Hey, I spent all my money. I probably need to make a better decision the next time or plan better, right? But it gives them the freedom to kind of understand parameters around money. When I don't have it, I can't do it. When I do have it, or if me and my friends are planning to do something and I have it, maybe I decide that's not really what I want to spend my money on. Maybe I want to save it to do something better or bigger, right? You don't have to spend the whole $50. It gives them a way to kind of explore and try different things as well. But it lets them kind of be free to pick and choose. And it's also teaching them lessons along the way. Just a tip that you can try. Doesn't have to be $100. It can be whatever you set. But start having those conversations with them and putting things into perspective. That goes back to the needs and wants, right? Do I really need to go to the basketball game or do I want to go to the basketball game? Because of course they'll try like, oh, well, mom, can I just have $2? Well, what do you need the $2 for? Now I'm asking questions, right? Well, I wanted to go do this, but I spent my other money. Oh, no, I don't have it. You got to make your choices. You chose to spend it on something else. I don't have it. I probably did have $2, but she didn't know that. But it's setting the parameters and living within those guidelines. Did you have a question or comment? You want what? A want, what a want is? Mm-mm. Well, I will say in a couple of her cases, her coach, like they had to go to some games, like to learn and do all that kind of stuff. So some of those were needs, but most of those times, if the coach was asking them to go, they were getting in for free, right? So she was using her money for concession stands, probably, right? And that's another choice, right? You go to a basketball game, we got $10 for concessions. Choose wisely. Probably getting a soda and a popcorn for $10 because everything's expensive. Eat before you go. But again, just making those simple little things. So we're going to talk about, oops, the three core skills. The first one is budgeting basics, which we've kind of already talked about a little bit, the needs versus the wants, right? So I got a couple of young ones in here. Who can tell me what needs are? Mm-hmm. You guys have anything else to add to that for needs? Did she do a good job? So which one of you wants to tell me what a want is? Uh-huh. Robux gift cards, huh? But it's not something you need, though. It's just something you would like to have or something that's nice to have, right? You can still live without it, right? Okay. Also, another budgeting basic is plan before spending. So, kind of alluding to the story I just shared. You got to plan out how you're going to spend your money. So, having a budget, letting your kids see what the budget is, because they think money grows on trees, right? You show them like, this is how much we pay for mortgage, or this is how much we pay to drive this car. This is how much it costs to put insurance on this car. Bet you they'll stop asking, can they go here and go there and go here and go there? Because gas is $3 a gallon. It all starts to add up, right? So allowing them to see sometimes how much things cost changes the perspective a little bit. Also, small decisions add up. What I mean by that is you've got a budget and you say, oh, it's okay. Occasionally I'll go get a Starbucks, right? That's $6 a coffee, right? Well, if I go 5 times in a week, it's $30. You weren't planning to spend $30 at Starbucks, but the little small $6, they start to add up. Or how many of you work somewhere where they've got like a vending machine that you can slide your debit card in? You'd be amazed at how many people I see, and I'm like, what are these $2.75 charges? Oh, I got a pop at work from the vending machine. Oh, I got a candy bar. $2.75 for a candy bar. But those little $2, if you go to the vending machine 3 times during a shift, you spent almost $10. You could have stopped at the gas station. There's no shame here, right? Hey, I've noticed I've been going to Starbucks a lot more lately. Normally it was like a maybe once or twice a week or every other week. I think this week I've been 3 times. And I'm like, oh, $12. Oh. And for me, it could be Starbucks. So last year, this time it was me and Target, but we broke up. I'm serious. I was going to Target probably 3 times a week. Not because I needed stuff. Oh, I didn't have anything to do. I'm just gonna go look around Target. Get a little card. Next thing you know, $250. What did I buy? I got 3 bags. What do I have in 3 bags for $250? It's kind of like when you go to the grocery store, right? You're like, oh, I only got 4 bags and it's $75. What did I buy? I just went to the store on Saturday. I literally had probably 6 bags and it was 120. Where did it go? Where did it go? But those small decisions add up. So, what I've tried to incorporate for myself are, and we'll get to it over here, but I'm just going to kind of share now. I try to implement no spend day a couple times out the week. I think I had one on Monday. I brought my lunch to work. I packed snacks in there as well. So I didn't have to leave work for lunch because I already had it. I just ate it in my office, went home after work. I didn't spend any extra money. Everything that I had already prepared it. My lunch, then I went home, my dinner was already ready. I didn't spend any extra money. And so I try to do that a couple times out of the week. You don't even think about, like, I'm not going to spend any money today. Now, I will say the only caveat to that is sometimes I need gas. Got to spend the money for the gas, but that's something that I need. It's a need, right? I, I wish I didn't have to pay for gas. But those small little things definitely add up. And then saving with a purpose. So, how many of you have savings goals? All got something we're saving up for, right? So, you've got your short term goals. Can anybody tell me what a short term goal is? Correct. So, a short term goal should be something that you want to do within the next 12 months. All right. So I'm going on a trip next June. That's one of my short-term goals is I'm going to Aruba. So I'm saving for Aruba. That's my short-term goal. What about a long-term goal? What's something that people save for long term? Yes, ma'am. Yep. Uh-huh. College. Yep. Exactly. College savings, or even like you said, retirement. That's another way of saving, right? Or maybe you're saving to buy a house or a car. Most of the time, those are going to take longer than a year. Or maybe you're saving up to have a baby, right? Because they're expensive too. Anybody else have any long-term goal ideas or suggestions? Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, that's very important. How many of you have an emergency savings? Because there's always an emergency, right? And so what I try to teach people is you're not going to build it overnight. But just start disciplining yourself to say, hey, even if I could, they normally say emergency savings is supposed to have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. We can't get there overnight. If I can put $20 every time I get paid into a savings account to slowly get myself there, when I do blow that tire and I've got $200 sitting in my emergency savings, guess what? I've got the money already. I don't have to take a day off work. I just got to go get it out of the bank, go get the tire fixed. And I used it for what it was intended for, an emergency. Now, should I take my emergency fund money and go to a concert? No, because that's not an emergency. That should be one of those short-term goals, right? Unless you're going to see Beyonce, you're going to need a loan. That's not a short-term goal. But knowing the difference and having that mindset of, hey, this is something that I'm planning for long term, maybe I need to put a plan in place, right? So yes, we have our budgets that shows what's coming in, what's going out, but we need to also make sure that those budgets show those savings goals. How am I saving? What am I saving? What is my goal? And we're going to get into some of that. Saving early matters, kind of what you alluded to, especially with kids. What grade are your boys in? Fourth grade? What grade are you in? Fourth? Oh, perfect. Everybody's in the fourth grade. It's never too early. It's never too late to start saving for college. Even if you didn't start until today, putting back something helps because it's expensive. I have 2 kids in college right now. And I started off saving for them, and then I was just like, oh, I got time. And time slipped away from me. And now I'm like, oh gosh, what am I gonna do? It's expensive. But having a plan in place, and also that's a whole nother conversation. I wish I had some high schoolers in here because I was going to share this. But that's why it's important to have these conversations because freshman year of high school, time to start having the college conversations. You got to work hard to get the grades so we can get some scholarships because this is how much it costs. And maybe we can't afford that. So we've got to put a plan in place of how we're going to get you to go to the university that you want to go to, right? Include them in those decisions and let them understand that sometimes we may get into the top school that we want to, but if we can't afford to go there, it's a conversation that we need to have. It's a tough one, but they need to know, like, hey, is this something that we can even afford? Even if I get a scholarship, we still have, expenses that we have to pay for. Can we afford this? And yes, you don't want to let your kids down, but sometimes you have to have those real life conversations. Happened to me. My son just graduated in June. And he said, "Oh, mom, I really want to go to Ball State and blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Sir, you didn't take school serious till your junior year. You got your work cut out for you. And I don't have $50,000 to waste on you going down to Ball State. And I know what's going to happen, right? I don't want to waste 50 grand." So we compromised. Do a year at Ivy Tech. We'll see what your grades look like, and then you can transfer. Fair, right? Getting him to do the things that he needs to do to buckle down and academically. And it gives me a little more time, right? to try to, I don't know where I'm going to pull the money from, but we're going to see. But he's doing great. His first semester. He aced his first final. But it's having the discipline and having those tough conversations sometimes. Like, I don't have $50,000 for you to go and blow because you waited until your junior year to get serious about school. And sometimes you got to have those tough conversations. They may be mad at you, though. They'll come back around. But it's being open and honest, right? Are you going to say something? No? Okay. And then talk about smart spending habits. This is probably one of my favorite categories. Price comparison. How many of you can comparison shop? I probably can find it cheaper somewhere else, right? Or let me see who has it on sale. Wait for it to go on sale. Another thing that I do is to avoid impulse buys. I will do all the research on something. I'll go to the store. I'll look at it, peek at it, and I give myself 48 hours. If I haven't went back and bought it in 48 hours, I don't need it. That's just a tip that I have. I'll go, like I said, I'll go look at it. I'll do all the online research comparing apples to oranges. And if I haven't been back in 2 days to get it, I really didn't need it. And that's again, those needs and those wants. I just wanted it because everybody else had it. Or I just wanted it because I saw it on social media and everybody said it worked great. And that goes back to that culture, some of the influences that we see, right? Everything we see on social media is not true, right? People project these lives that they don't really have, right? Or these things that we don't really have. And those things influence our buying and our habits of spending, right? Because we see all these gadgets and we want to have them. Oh, I've got to have this. It does this and this. Like I just bought an electric shovel. I'm going to use it the next time it snows. So I don't have to use a regular shovel. I just bought one on TikTok Shop. I'll let you know how it works. But sometimes we get caught up, right? Anybody in here know anybody that just like online shops all the time? I know a few people. I'm like, you didn't even know that existed until you got on Amazon. You know what I mean? Like you didn't even know you needed it. They place these things here for you to be like, oh, I need that. You didn't even know it existed, right? You got a question? Uh-huh. You guys go in there and find stuff that you want? It's okay. I've got some wish lists on Amazon. It's okay to have a wish list. So then when people ask me what you want for your birthday, oh, here's my Amazon wish list, right? Or what do you want for Christmas? Oh, here's some things I've been looking at. And I put them in the wish list because I really don't want to buy them for myself, right? I'm like, I really don't need it. But if somebody else wants to buy it for me, sure. But that's again, creating those smart spending habits. I don't really need it. But if somebody wants to gift it to me, I'd gladly take it. Yes, ma'am. Correct. I actually saw somebody today post that they bought this outfit off of, I think, Fashion Nova, and she posted the outfit and she posted what she got, and it did not match at all. So when we talk about our spending habits, avoid the impulse buys and also the I can't afford that. You can afford it. You just got to put a plan in place to get it, right? So maybe it's just not a right now. It's something in the future that I'm going to put a plan in place for to get for myself or for my family. Uh-huh.
So when you have no spend days, do you find yourself spending more like on a different day? Okay.
Nope. I don't try to overcompensate for not spending. Nope. I just go on the next day like nothing happened. But so what I do though is I'll just wake up and like, I'm not spending any money today. So I don't like plan like, okay, Tuesday, Thursday. You can if you want to, but I just kind of like let it go as I feel, how I wake up that day. I don't feel like spending any money today. Or after I get up on Monday and look at my bank account, I'm not spending no money today. After all those weekends. Okay, let's be honest in here. This is safe space. How many of you hate opening that bank app on Mondays? 'Cause you're like, holy crap, I spent all this money. And of course, all the little store stuff comes off first before all the bills that you actually pay, like on Friday when you got paid. And it's like, oh, I hope I got enough left. Right? I hate opening that bank app on Monday. And that's like that fear, right? Oh, I already know it's going to be bad. But when we start putting some of these things into practice, we feel like, I think someone said earlier, confident. Now I can open and be like, I know I've got some money left. Let me make sure all my things came out and see how much I've got left to go do whatever else I don't want to spend money on. So we are going to, before we get into conversation starters, you guys got one of these papers. It's your family money talks. It's the first activity, which is a family money vision. I'm going to give you probably 7 minutes. What we're going to do on this worksheet is money goals become stronger when the whole family can see and agree on them. So what we're going to do is have a shared money vision for your family. So you see some prompts down at the bottom that says in 12 months we want to blank. Our dream trip is blank. One habit we want to change is blank. So work with your family, or if you're here alone, put these down for yourself. I'm going to give you about 7 minutes to work through the front of this worksheet, and then we'll come back and have some more conversation, and then we'll have another activity on the back as well. Okay. Did you get some things written down that you want to set some plans in place for? Anybody want to share something they wrote down? Yes, ma'am. Buying a new house. That's always fun, right? That takes a lot of savings though, too, right? And having a plan in place, which means, I think we were just having that conversation in the back. Sometimes when you've got a big goal like that, that means sometimes you got to cut some stuff out, right? So maybe we cook more at home and we don't eat out as much, or maybe we don't do all the fun things that we normally do and we kind of cut back on some of that stuff so that we can save a little bit more. Anybody else have a goal they want to share? Nobody? Nice. Nice. Because emergencies always come up and it's always nice. It's just a peace of mind to be able to say, hey, we don't even have to worry about it, right? I've got it. One of mine for 2026 is to pay down debt. Anybody with me on that one? Yeah, pay down some debt. So as you are working through these vision, the family money vision, incorporate these with your kids. Like talk to them about some of these things you want to do as a family so that they can kind of get the gist of how to work, how to set a goal and how to work to create that goal, putting a plan in place, which is the next activity that we're going to do. But if you want to start having some conversations with your kids about money, here's some things that kind of conversation starters. What money goal are you working on this month? So maybe they have their own goal, right? Maybe they want to save to buy something. You said you wanted to save some of your money, right? And not spend as much. So maybe you have something that you want to buy. So maybe mom can ask you, "Hey, how much did you save this month?" Or what's your plan for saving, to get whatever it is that you want to save for? Or how much is it going to cost you to save? And maybe she help you put a plan together. Like, hey, if you get allowance and it's $20 a week, maybe if you save 10 of that, you'll have what you need in like 4 or 5 weeks and then you can go buy it, right? So having the conversations around it. Or maybe it's what's something you spent money on that felt worth it, right? So sometimes you buy things that you're like, you know what, that was a good buy. Something I needed and it's something, or maybe it was something that I wanted, but I felt like I got my money's worth for it, right? Because sometimes when we rush and buy stuff, we just gotta have it and it's not the right thing. And then it breaks, right? And then you're like, I should have just bought the real thing, saved it a little extra. Sometimes you say that with a car, right? Like, oh, I was just in such a rush. I made the wrong decision. I didn't get the car I really wanted, right? And then you keep having all these car problems, and then you got to turn that car in and get something else. Like, I should have just did this from the get-go, right? Got what I wanted, or got the more reliable car, right? So those things happen, but having those conversations, like, um, being able to say, I spent my money on this and it makes me feel good that I did this. And then that I think goes back to the conversation that he had about giving, right? So that's something that you spent your money on that you felt that was worth it. So maybe I gave money to a charity. Makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, right? Makes you feel positive, makes you feel happy. What's something you wished you had saved more for? And as parents, we can be honest. Like I said, having those conversations with your high schoolers, I wish I'd saved more for college for you, right? Or I wish I had saved more, especially if you've got a high schooler. That freshman year, you also need to start saving for senior year because it's very expensive. So I don't know if you guys read the newsletters that come out from Miss Danita and Madison, but I've put a few things in there about saving for senior year, senior pictures, yearbook, cap and gown. Oh, what else? Letter jacket. All the things, right? Prom, homecoming. I can't even think of, is there anything else I'm missing? I just see dollars. Graduation part. Oh, yeah. That was very expensive. Graduation party, graduation outfit, senior recognition outfit, right? All the things. Graduation parking. You might have to save what is it, $10 now to park at the Coliseum? Oh, it's too much. Too much. What do you think is the biggest financial challenge that adults face? So I'm going to ask the students in the room. What do you think is the biggest financial challenge that adults face? Major? Huh? I can't hear you. What's one of the biggest challenges that you think your mom faces with money? Having to pay taxes? Okay. What about you? Kid paying for you and your brother for stuff? What about you guys? Paying the bills? Yeah, it's a lot. And I'm glad you guys recognize that, right? Mom and dad go to work so that they can pay all the bills, right? We talked about those needs, right? You need clothes, you need food, you need shelter, you need water, you need electricity, you need the internet because you can't do your homework without it, right? So that's a need. It's not even a want anymore. Those are just the basic things. You need shoes. And if mom and dad has more than one kid, it starts to add up, right? As well as they've got to clothe themselves, feed themselves. It's expensive. So I'm glad that you guys realize that there are financial challenges. How many of you, I'm talking to the kids, have heard the expression money grows on trees? You guys know what that means? What does it mean? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It grows on trees. Like you can just easily just go get it, right? Doesn't work that way. Yes, it is not infinite. Sometimes I just show my kid my bank balance. I don't have it, buddy. It's not there. One story that I like to share is though, I had a little cousin and she was probably 7 at the time. And she's like, "Can we go to McDonald's?" Because we're past McDonald's. So she saw the sign. I said, "No, I don't have McDonald's. I don't have any money for McDonald's." She's like, "Yes, you do. Pull out that card." And I'm like, "That is not how that works." So I instantly went into like banker mode. I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's not how that works. You got to have money in the bank to slide the card. Like you can't just swipe the card. There has to be money there." But like you said, kids don't see that. They just see things and they want it and they think their mom and dad's gonna pay for it, right? And that's not the true reality. Sometimes we do have money for McDonald's. Or I laugh at my mom because she used to always tell me and my brother she didn't have money for McDonald's, but then when she got grandkids, she's got money for everything, right? I don't know. Another conversation starter you can do is what's one thing you'd like to save for as a family this year? And I know that was what we kind of talked about on our vision boards, right? But now we're going to go into how do we keep each other accountable for these things? Maybe we have a weekly family check-in. Maybe since you said you wanted to save, maybe mom's checking in on you every week and say, "Hey, how much more do you have to go to reach your goal?" Right? And then you can share with her like, "Oh, I spent too much at the store. Now I got to add an extra week onto my savings." But it's another way to keep you accountable. Or maybe we do a goal tracking chart on the refrigerator. That's one place where everybody goes, right? Is the fridge. And maybe we've got a family goal to go on vacation. And maybe we kind of track as we save, right? Hey, this is where we're going. This is where we are. And then it's there for everyone to see. Or maybe we get some jars. We take it back, old school. We have a save, spend, and share jar. And that share could be for giving, right? And we put our loose change in there. Don't throw your pennies in there though, because they're gonna be obsolete in a little bit. We won't be able to take them at the banks or credit unions anymore. I don't know. I know we can't order them anymore. So whatever people bring in is what we have. I was just sharing this. I was teaching JA yesterday, and I was telling the kids they were in, I think, third grade. I said, if you have pennies at home, take one and save it somewhere, put it somewhere, because in 30 years it's gonna be worth something. Maybe. I don't know. I said, or it'll be a cool story to tell your kids, like, there used to be this little brown thing called a penny. Because they're like, what's that? It doesn't exist anymore. But maybe using that jar system, you can put your change in there. I've had customers in the banks and credit unions, they put all their empty change in a container. That's their vacation money. They bring it in, we count it, $1,500. That's their play money on vacation. Wouldn't that be nice? Same money that you had, but you're just all your change just goes into a bucket. The way of saving, it's a small step, right? To creating those smart habits. Also, another way for keeping kids accountable is creating a youth checking or a savings account. How many of the kids in here have some type of bank account? Uh-huh. High school checking account, or even if they're not old enough for high school yet, a savings account. Start them when they're young. As parents, put $10 in there every time you get paid. They get birthday money. Oh, we're going to take it to the bank. My credit union does a birthday match for kids. They deposit $5, we'll match them $5. So it's a nice way just to incentivize them to save. We also have our youth savings account. We will pay up to 3% interest on the first $500 that goes into that account. Nice way to teach them how to start saving, right? Um, but also for the youth, the checking accounts, it's a good way to teach them the needs and wants. Do I really need this? Get them a debit card. They have access to their own money. And guess what? When it's gone, it's gone. If you didn't do what you were supposed to do with it, you got to wait till the next time you get some money. It's a great way to start teaching them where they can be safe. Like, because mom or dad still has to be on the account with them to monitor, but it's trial and error. Most kids can have an account, a checking account, at about 12. You can get a debit card, and it's a great way. Hey, I'm gonna put your allowance on this card. You can buy whatever you'd like with it, or you could save it. It's your money. But start having those conversations, giving them the freedom to decide if this is something that they want to buy or they don't want to buy. But all with those small guardrails of, hey, mom and dad are here to help you along the way. But it empowers them to want to save money or to spend their money on something that they want for themselves. All right. So we've done that. If you flip your paper over, I want you each to take one of, and we'll probably just spend about 5 minutes on this. I want you to take one of the things that you wrote for your family money vision, and I want you to dream it into a plan. So choose one of the goals from your family vision, big or small, and work together to outline the steps, the resources, and support you would need to bring it to life. So maybe you want to know why does this goal matter? What are some current obstacles we are facing with this, or what could be some potential obstacles? What do our first 3 steps look like? How are we going to implement this? When are we going to start it? What extra support will we need to reach this goal? How will we celebrate in our progress toward the plan? So again, remember I talked about maybe we just put something on the fridge. And every time we color in a box, every time we save $20, could be as simple as that. So I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to work through the dream it, do it. How will we get there? Also, you can put in there if there are specific things that you want like the kids to do in order to get to the goal. Hold them accountable. Put those things on there as well in that plan. So we're going to get about 5 minutes to go through this plan. All right. Well, as we wrap up today, I just kind of want to hone in on a few things. Especially with this activity. I want you to leave with one clear financial or life goal, something that's simple and realistic, right? We don't have to have all the answers, but we have a plan in place to kind of help us see the vision and move forward, right? And the nice thing is, it's your plan. So if you decide, I changed my mind, maybe we don't want to focus on that, or maybe this is something that's more long term, maybe we're going to start with a smaller goal, that's totally fine. This is your plan. But make sure you do assign roles, right, to that plan. So that way everybody can keep one another accountable and you come up with a fun way to track the goal and figure out when you want to start it and when you want to end that goal. Another thing that you guys can also do at home with your kids is put together a family action plan, like a family money agreement. This would include like a shared financial goal, one habit that the parents will model, and one habit that the student will model or practice, and maybe a weekly family check-in. Here's an example. We will save $20 per week towards our spring break trip. Maybe that's mom and dad putting the $20 in, and maybe that's the kids making sure they put the $20 in the envelope or wherever they're keeping it, and then tracking it together, right, and celebrating the success. Or maybe it's we will talk about money without arguing or criticizing, right? Maybe it's that simple. Maybe we'll talk about money in a positive way. Or maybe we'll work to teach the kids that having money to do some of the things that we want doesn't necessarily mean that we have to spend all of our money, right? So maybe some of those smart habits that we talked about, right? Or maybe it's, and I know a lot of couples do this, but maybe they set a price limit is like, hey, I'm going to comparison shop for anything that costs maybe $50 or more. Or I know some couples They all have their separate fund money, but if it's something that's over maybe $100 or $200, they have to talk about it before they buy it, right? Because you may think it's something that you really need, and she's like, no, we don't really need that, right? And it's both of your money, so they have a say. They should have a say, right? In it. But getting the kids involved in these conversations, getting them involved in kind of back to the example that I talked about with the entertainment budget, finding creative ways. Another thing I used to do with my kids when they were younger too was I made grocery shopping kind of fun. So once my daughter was like third grade, she could read and write. I need you to create a grocery list of all the snacks that you guys need. What are you out of? Go take inventory, right? Because I was that mom that if it's not on the grocery list, it does not go in the cart. So if they didn't write it on their list, it's not my fault they didn't get the Doritos, right? Put the accountability back on them. You didn't put it on your list. Worked great. And sometimes I have to look at the list and like, no, wait a minute now. This is just ridiculous. You're asking for stuff we've never bought, right? But it's a way to get them engaged in the shopping, right? Couple times we would go. Of course, I used to have coupons. This was, back in the day. They don't really have coupons anymore, but we have coupons. I'm like, oh, I'm also one of those people. If it's not on sale, I'm not buying it. I'm not paying full price. Even if it's 15% off, I still think I'm winning, right? Because it's not full price. But finding creative ways to get the kids involved. So finding a budget activity that you can kind of give them a little bit of money and say, hey, what do you want to do with this? Or hey, create your grocery list of all the snacks that you need. That puts the accountability back on them and not you as the parent. Or say, hey, you've got $50 that you can spend at the grocery store on snacks. What are you going to buy? That's always a fun one too. Because then they start seeing how much that junk really costs. And then they're like, do we really need two kinds of Doritos? Right? Maybe we can decide on one. And I had two kids. So I had a girl and a boy. And I was elated when Pop-Tarts, so one liked frosted strawberry, the other liked, was it cinnamon brown sugar? They came in a pack together. I buy the jumbo pack. Because now you both get something that you like. Because sometimes it's hard when you have multiple kids, they don't like the same things, right? So then it's like, oh, can we compromise? But again, that's another life skill that they can learn. So again, hopefully tonight I've shared just a few tidbits that you can kind of take back, work with your families on, with your kids, and kind of help them to see. And I loved, so thank you to all the students that were in here that the question that we talked about, some of the hardest challenges that adults face with money. I'm glad you guys said that you noticed that they pay all the bills. And what was your response? I can't remember. Taking care of the kids, right? Those are heavy lifts that parents have to do. And so when you guys are asking for this and that and this and that, they're trying to figure out how they can pay for it without rocking the boat of all the other things they got to pay for. So keep that in mind, students, as especially holiday time, you want all these things. Life still has to happen. The day after Christmas, right? We still got to have somewhere to live. We still got to have food. We still got to have water. We still got to have lights. Okay? So thank you all. If you have individual questions, feel free. Like I said, I'll be around for a few minutes, but thank you guys. Hopefully you learned something today. One of these tips that you can take back with you, with your kids, and work through some of these things.
Yeah, give Miss Spikes a hand. So I got a question
Uh-oh.
for students. Somebody tell me something that they learned in here tonight. Something new. Yes. Can you say it really loud? Is that something you guys learned in here today?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Go back and if you'd like a pizza to take home, you can take one home. Do you want a pizza? Awesome.
Go
back
get
and
you one. Yes, please.
Okay, another student. Tell me something you learned in here tonight.
Don't be shy. Come on, Major. I see your hand. Say that again. Different ways you can save money.
Awesome. Go back and pick your pizza. And maybe if I can have an adult tell them which one so they don't open them all. Do we know which ones are sausage, pepperoni, or cheese?
Yeah.
Great. You want a pizza? Your mom said get your pizza to take home.
Mom said,
Mom said,
see, that we just talked about that savings. She now she don't gotta buy you dinner.
No, I wanted French fries.
And you can eat on that tomorrow after school. You got an after school snack.
Somebody still get the fries tonight, but she said it tomorrow.
You trying to buy a house?
Tell me something. Did you guys learn something tonight? What'd you learn?
You save money for like your or like your car.
Yes, I love it. I should have stayed in here. I was out there working. Okay, feel free. Go back and select the pizza. Now, for our parents in the room, I would love to hear some of the nuggets and things that you all discussed and talked about that maybe you might have known or that you feel like, man, this was light bulb moment for me. Like I will definitely take this back and use this as a tool. And I'm gonna give parents 1 minute because I'm chatting and I know we can get chat. So 1 minute, who can share out with them? A day without spending money?
Yep, no spend day.
Talk about that. What's that? I need help with that.
It doesn't matter what day of the week it is, just don't spend any money. Take your lunch to work.
Yep.
Leftovers.
Yep.
Meal prep, I would say.
Yes.
You don't need anything, right?
And if you door dashing,
I will never.
I don't DoorDash, so
Me
no
neither.
shade for anyone that does. But at the office they do. And once I found out the cost of door dashing, I'd like to die. I said, oh no.
I can just drive and go get it.
$5 to $10 for a $10 meal? Yeah, I was mad about that. So I am learning. Oh, well, good. I love that. No spending day. So I'm going to have to take that nugget back.
Yes.
I'll be using that over the Christmas break.
Uh-huh.
Any others, parents?
Make you stay at
I'm going
home.
to come back to the students.
He's
Parents.
got one right here.
Just talking about college, just my daughter's in middle school, but having discussions about what it's going to cost to go to college. And
Yes.
what she might need to do in order to academically qualify.
Yes. Love it. And I think sometimes we think college is so far away, especially when they're in elementary, but it's not. Like I can remember my granddaughters were like 8 years old and now they are freshmen. And I didn't know that they would have 4.0s. Like my granddaughter just finished this semester and it was a 4.0. And my sons, we struggled and argued through. So this is a new experience for me. To have kids who are on honor roll. I told them, oh, I get to go to an honor roll breakfast. Yeah. But in that plan, right, I don't want to get her to the 4-year mark and she's done and I have no money.
Yep.
Because the experience we have at the school is that we have a lot of kids, you guys, who are doing it, right? They get the grades, they go to school, they do well. And the sad commentary is that sometimes parents sometimes fail to plan, right? And so it becomes a very sad state at senior year. And they say, we want to go to school. She's done her job. He's done his job. And parents say, I didn't know because I didn't have the experience of that. So I don't even know how to navigate, how to get my child there, and financially how to be able to support it. And if I can't support it, what does that look like with relationship and connectedness to different avenues and schools? So I love hearing that the college plan, and sometimes I think because we don't think we make a lot of money that we cannot save. So I know Ms. Fikes talked about even with your little, right?
$20.
$20. Because if we really look at some of the things we spend on, like, yeah, that Starbucks, that candy bar at the store, like all of that kind of stuff. So,
Yep.
yes, thank you.